Hey everyone, it's Lexi. So in today's video I'll be doing the mid-year book freakout tag. It's crazy to think that we are halfway through 2019. This year has flown by. There's been a lot of life changes, but I'm very happy with how things are working out. So yeah, looking back at all the books that I've read so far, I've really enjoyed a lot of them, so I've been really lucky. So I think this tag will be a good way for me to talk about some of the highlights of the year so far. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. Question 1. The best book you've read so far? So for this one, I would have to hands down say The Huntress by Kate Quinn. I was so excited for this book when it was coming out earlier this year, and I flew through it. It was amazing. I really loved how the author was able to seamlessly weave in the storylines in here, and she also made it seem so natural. I was so attached to all the characters and everything flowed really well, and I just loved it. I loved the characters. The ending was amazing, and yeah, it was so good. If you really love historical fiction, definitely check out this author out. I really love the Alice Network as well, so this one is also a good one if you like all that stuff. So yeah. Question 2 is the best sequel you've read so far. So this one would be Ambush by Barbara Nickless, and this is the third book in the Sydney Parnell series. I was so excited for this one. So basically in the first two books they talk about something that happened to Sydney in Afghanistan that's very secretive, like it was a cover-up that she was somehow involved in, and this is kind of leading up to everything kind of exploding and taking off from there. But it was just so intense. There was so many plot twists in here. Like, I was shocked. I was like, oh my goodness, but it was really good. I felt like every time I read a new book of this, I love Sydney more. She's such a complex character, and I think the author does a really good job at showcasing that, and also does a good job at talking about PTSD, which I think is really important and isn't something that is really talked about a lot in literature. So I think this one is just an amazing series, so I'm really excited for the next one coming out next year. Question 3 is a new release you want to read but haven't read yet. So for this one, I have King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo. This one, a lot of people were really excited about it when it came out earlier this year, but the reviews have been very mixed, and I feel in terms of Leigh Bardugo, I'm kind of like on the opposite end of what the majority feel about these books. So I'll see how I feel about this. I really, really love the character Nikolai. He's such an amazing character. He was my favorite of the Grisha trilogy, so I'm really happy that there is a duology solely focused on him. So I definitely will be picking this one up soon. I just really need to get to it, but as you know, I've been marathoning through a couple series, so I need to, once I'm done with that, I'll definitely be picking this one up after that. So question 4 is your most anticipated release in the second half of the year. So this one would have to be Vow of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. This is the second book in the spin-off series for the Remnant Chronicles. So I read Dance of Thieves last summer and loved it, and I'm really excited for this one. It ended on such a big cliffhanger that I'm like, oh my goodness, like I need to know what happens. And so me and my friend I reread the Remnant Chronicles, but she read it with me for the first time, so it was a good refresher. And then we're gonna read Dance of Thieves right before Vow of Thieves comes out, so it'll be a good refresher and kind of remember everything. But yeah, I really, really loved this book, and I'm super excited for the sequel. Question 5 is your biggest disappointment. So for this one, it would have to be Sting by Sandra Brown. I read a couple of her books previously, and I really liked them. They were really fast-paced, but for some reason with this one, I didn't like it. I didn't find the plot very interesting, and I found kind of like the Stockholm Syndrome romance to be just a little creepy. So yeah, I was a little disappointed with this one. My mom read it too, and she didn't like it either, so I don't know, this one just wasn't our cup of tea for some reason. Question 6 is your biggest surprise. So for this one, it would have to be Year One by Nora Roberts, and this was a gift that I got for Christmas, and I picked it up around April, and I was totally surprised by this one. It's basically like a sci-fi fantasy apocalypse type book, and basically the premise of this is that there is this plague that's going around killing billions of people. Like, it wiped out 2/3 of the Earth's population within like 2 weeks, and the only people that are left that are like immune to the disease are those who have some sort of magic in them. And so I don't want to spoil too much about it, but I was really surprised. This isn't my type of genre, and necessarily. And I went into it not knowing too much, but I was very pleasantly surprised, and I can't wait for the second one to come out on paperback so I can pick it up and then see what it says, because it was really, really good and I was really surprised. So I'm interested to see where the story progresses. Question 7 is your favorite new author. This one would have to be Catherine Arden. I read The Bear and the Nightingale towards the end of 2018, and then I read The Girl in the Tower and The Winter of the Witch kind of earlier this year, and I really loved it. She's such a very atmospheric writer. I could really picture myself in Russia during this time, and I just really love the storyline. I loved the characters, and I was so engrossed in that story. So definitely I'll be checking out more of her books, or if she has new series coming out, I don't know, but I definitely will be checking out more of her books in the future. Question 8 is your newest fictional crush. So for this one, I'm kind of going to do a TV show, just because I couldn't really think of any from ones that I've read now, but it would definitely have to be Nickless Scratch from The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. Like, I'm totally team Nick on this one. I really love him, and I love kind of like usually I don't go for the bad boy, but this time around I do, so I'm very interested to see what his storyline has in store for us in season 3, but yeah, he's definitely my new favorite fictional crush. Alrighty, so this is Lexi from the next day. So I went to go and edit my video, but for some reason the second half of the video went MIA. So I'm just going to pick up where we left off. Question 9, your favorite new character. This one would have to be definitely Tracy Crosswhite from the Tracy Crosswhite series. I marathoned through the books, I think 2 through 7, kind of through April and May, so I really enjoyed it. She has such a very interesting origin story. She became a detective because her sister went missing and disappeared, and that's why she became a detective. But over the course of the novels that I read this year, she had a lot of personal growth, and she's such an interesting character. She really relates to the victims, and she is like, she's tough when she needs to be, but she also is able to empathize with the victims, which I think is really unique. So I really, really love Tracy, and I can't wait to pick up the new book next year. Question 10 is books that made you cry. Fortunately, I did not have any books that made me cry this half of the year, so we'll see how things turn out at the end of the year. Question 12 is your favorite book to movie adaptation that you saw this year, and I was kind of looking over my letterbox trying to figure it out, and the only kind of true book to movie adaptation I saw was Crazy Rich Asians, which I watched on the plane when we were flying back from Barcelona, and I actually really enjoyed it. I haven't read the book, but I like the movie. I haven't watched like a modern rom-com in a while, so this one was really nice and it was cute and sweet. So yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by it. So question 13 is your favorite review that you've done this year so far, and definitely would have to be Homefront by Kristen Hanna. This was the Tales and Teacups book club picks for the months of May and June, and I really enjoyed it because there was a lot of participation from you guys, which really made it special. So I really liked engaging with you guys during this one. It was a little crazy in May, so I didn't end up picking this until June, but there is already still a lot of discussion questions before I read this, so I was really excited about that, and I really loved just kind of being able to engage with you guys talking about this book. So yeah, I think this one was probably my favorite so far. Question 14 is the most beautiful book you purchased this year. This one would have to be The Girl in the Tower by Catherine Arden. This is the second book in the Nightingale trilogy, and I really liked it. I just love kind of the gradient, and then you kind of see the character riding off on her horse. I love the gold foiling detailing around here, but I haven't purchased that many books this year, but I really loved this one. I think when I was thinking about this question, I was like, this is the one that came to my mind. And then it also kind of has like Russia, I think like kind of like what Moscow is in the back as well. But yeah, I really love kind of this because I feel like it perfectly depicts the story. And finally, question 15 is the books that you need to read by the end of the year. So these are the ones that are on my priority TBR that I'd like to finish by the end of the year. So I have You're a Badass by Jen Sincero, Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter, You Tattooist of Auschwitz by Heather Morris, Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik, and King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo. So that's it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below what some of your favorite books were that you've read so far this year. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys next time. Bye guys.